Thanks. Hi, Mark. Prior to the tournament, you'd only ever played twice with John Stones. I just wonder if you can talk a little bit about how that relationship evolves, actually kind of on the hoof in a way, at a major tournament with all the pressure. How does that kind of come together?
I'd say credit to him. Not only is he a fantastic player, he's a top person, someone that I think everyone in the squad gets along with. And he's constant, I'd say, almost like a big brother, putting his arm around you, taking care of you, do you know what I mean? But yeah, I'm going off him in a way. He's leading it, he's orchestrating things, and I'm just learning off him every single day. So, you know, it's a joy to play with him.
Do Simon then Matt.
Hi, Mark. I know this was before your time, but some of us here were expecting us to beat Iceland in the last 8 years ago, and obviously that didn't go very well for England. There's not going to be any sense of complacency, or, I mean, how is the mindset? Is it just focusing like you're playing France or the best teams in the tournament?
Yeah, I've said it in just other questions as well. I think every single team is a threat, and it's understanding that, and it's being mindful of that, and going into these games with that same focus. So I think if we do that, we'll be okay.
Hi, Mark. You once took a pretty unique penalty in a shootout for Chelsea in the UEFA Youth League that went quite viral on the internet. Have you ever done that since, and would you be brave enough to do that if a game went to penalty shootouts in the knockout phase?
Never. Never ever again. Well, I think that's going to stay wherever it is. Like you say, if keepers, you know, have a look on the internet, I don't think they're, searching me up on Google or anything anyway. But yeah, that's just going to stay where it is. Never. I don't think it's going to come out ever again, to be honest.
Have you practiced any penalties for the threat of a penalty shootout yet?
Yeah. We've been doing a lot of work. I think the work's going really well across the team with the penalties. It's important to make sure that you're ready.
And just one more, sorry. Your father, is he still a minister or was a minister? Obviously, the game's on a Sunday. Will he be there, or will he have to find alternative ways of watching it because he's got a church service?
Yeah, I actually don't know. Usually church, God comes first. So I'd expect him to be at church, but he could turn off, I don't know. So yeah, I have to message him later to ask him.
Cheers.
Thanks, Matt. John Northcroft and then Charlie and then Craig.
Hi, Mark. I had exactly the same idea as Matt. I was going to ask about that penalty, and it was like an Ivan Toney one, wasn't it? But better.
Yeah.
I just wondered what the psychology of penalties is from your point of view. And again to Matt, what's the practice been like? Are you doing it at the end of training? Are you doing it every day? Can you tell us anything about that?
Yeah, we've got.
Sorry, guys, I'm going to jump in there. Don't want to be giving away any competitive advantage. We'll move on to Charlie.
Mark, during this tournament or even before, is there a specific piece of advice that stands out, be it from either Gareth, Steve Holland, one of the players, or someone else that, in your football world that really stands out and you've thought about?
I'd say every day. I get told this every day. I tell myself sometimes, but it's difficult. It's not to be too hard on yourself, because I'd say I'm very, very critical of myself. I'd say from a young age, I've always tried to make sure I've, been the best that I could be. And especially when you're going through the ages, football gets a lot harder. So I'd say not to be too hard on yourself, because I can be sometimes.
Has Gareth said that to you, or specifically when you've spoken to him?
Yeah, we had a brief conversation about it in one of the last games I played. Just joking around, saying not to beat yourself up. But yeah, I think that's a big message for me in my career, for sure.
Thanks, Charlie. Craig, then we'll go to Andy Dunn.
Hi, Mark. There was a pre-tournament narrative that England couldn't win this tournament with what was increasingly looking like a makeshift defence. Were you guys aware of that before the tournament?
I don't know if the other players were. I wasn't. But I think the defence is doing quite well at the moment, and hopefully we can carry on.
Yeah, absolutely. That was the point I was talking to, really, that we came into the tournament with this idea where, in actual fact, the defence looks as if the one part of the team that has got itself together. Are you guys aware? Do you look at the stats? There's so many very complimentary stats with regards to the defence. Do you say to each other, have you seen this, like the lowest XG against at the tournament so far?
Yeah, we get the information quite often, to be fair, especially after the games. almost as an incentive, I guess, to carry on, to make sure that standards remain high. But yeah, like I said, it's definitely a collective. It's not just the back four for sure. It's the entire team that are playing a part in this.
So you guys at the back aren't pinning those numbers up on the wall for everyone to see, no?
Not at all. Not at all. Not at all.
And just lastly, Mark, for me, how do you assess your own performance here? You've been getting a lot of praise. How do you think you've done?
I'm doing okay. Like I said, it's first 3 games I'm glad. I'm happy to be playing. But that's not the objective. The objective is much bigger. And I think it starts with, Slovakia in the round 16.
It's great if we get the microphone right back to Andy Dunn for the last one there. Cheers.
Hi, Mark.
Hi.
Could I just ask you what it's like, how you find it playing in front of Jordan Pickford? I mean, I know all goalkeepers are vocal, but he seems particularly vocal. Could you talk about that, and also what you think, are his qualities? After all, he is a keeper who's now, I think, kept more clean sheets for England in tournament football than anyone else.
Yeah, I'd say I'm not particularly used to Jordan, to be honest. I think it's a bit of a shock at first. But actually, when you look back on it, he's fantastic. Constant communication, like you say, constantly making sure that, you're staying alert and you're awake in the game. And yeah, like you say, his clean sheet record speaks for itself. He's honestly a top goalkeeper.
In what way was it a shock?
Just the amount of talking, to be honest. Yeah, it's a lot, but it's good. It's good.
Okay, and finish with Eric there.
Congrats again for winning the darts. So will you give the Germans
Thank you.
a revenge in a possible final?
As in the football or in the darts? In the football? Yeah, we're not too really concerned with what the Germans are doing. I don't think they're concerned with what we're doing, to be honest. I think everyone's just focused on their own journey, their own path. And I think that's it, to be honest.
Yeah, to be honest, how high are your hopes still after the first 3 games to reach the final in Berlin? Your hopes?
I think that's every team's hopes and dreams, but definitely one game at a time.
Thank you.
Cheers, everyone. We'll end it there. Thanks for your time.
Cheers. Thank you.